And in today's video we're going to be discussing Kryptonite, or rather, a magician's Kryptonite in performance. 4 of them I have found from my personal thought and exploration. So, if you enjoy torturing magicians, this video is for you. Let's roll that intro. So let's just jump right into it. The first Kryptonite of a magic performer, or just magic in general, is an underwhelming audience. Now, this is a big one. I know people argue for different audiences and different preferences, but just an underwhelming audience in general is... It just hurts the performer because we question if they are even enjoying the performance, or am I doing something wrong? Did I flash? It brings the performer into question, and then questions their confidence in their performance. If you do a great show we thought was great, and after each effect, each part of the routine, they are just underwhelmed, it makes you question the context. It makes you question the structure. It just makes you question everything about what you're doing. And so having an underwhelming audience is never great, and it's good to understand. I think what helps solve it and get around that is to understand your audience and understand some things about them. So before you do your show, you would like to engage and interact with the audience, and usually clients expect you to do this anyways at the beginning. Do a little bit of walk around. You don't act totally. This is what I usually hear from clients. Don't act totally like a magician. Just just like you're walking around and just doing some cool things. We want something special. That's what usually clients ask for, or the ones of the many shows I've done. And then you'll do your main show, whatever it is, for everyone there. And being able to understand it, making it great, and seeing what their preference is, or what excites them in magic, just secretly, observing them, and just really personalizing your show to the whole audience you're working with, really shows that level of depth from the performer that you care. That it's not just a normal magic show, it's their magic show. It was their experience that they are going to remember for a lifetime. So that's number 1. Number 2 is poor angle control. And let's say you have a bunch, and this is a brief one, but if you have a bunch of risky effects, if you're not controlling your angle or controlling the effect, because it might be a little bit advanced, it's risky. You're flashing the effect, and the whole illusion you're giving can fall apart, essentially. And we want to keep, as a performer, we would want to keep that illusion of just magic and the beauty of it. We want to create an image, and we want to establish it for our audience and be clear rather than fall apart on itself. So what aids some angle control is being mindful of it, taking for the professionals I've seen in Magic Castle, they always say, take a step back, and you increase your coverage, and you're less likely to flash to some angle. Or just spread out the amount of risky sleights you do. You don't need to, and though I love their material to death, and I incorporate, and I use some of their stuff, you don't need to do turn every single Dan and Dave trick into a whole show, because a lot of their stuff is very risky and can flat. It's impressive as all living heck, okay? And the level of skill, they really created a whole new niche and everything. I could only say great things about them. But it still adds an element of risk and chance to doing all Dan and Dave level tricks where it's just angle sensitive or advanced, and it's not reliable every time for many effects. And just having that reliability, sometimes doing a sleight you don't necessarily like as much, just to be able to make sure the angle's covered for an effect, can really aid to the whole magic performance. It's something to fall back on. And this is outside of just having knowledge basics to always do it. So just being mindful of that, and so you don't flash. Because the last thing we want to do is just flash and then destroy that illusion of him or her being the ultimate performer. And again, that image is, let's use the overweight Divernon quote, worth its weight in gold. And so number 3 of a magician or performer's kryptonite would be, in my opinion, these are all 4 of them are my opinion, is distractions. And this can be a natural distraction or something outside the show that's doing it. And it takes away, like, you have to, unless the performer is, and we would want to encourage, this is now a solution, because this whole distraction can deride your show. And if you just try to do it without being tone deaf to whatever was going on, then your whole show tanks even harder. Wow, he doesn't care about whatever is going on. All he cares about is the show and doing the show and getting paid. That doesn't bode well. At least from personal experience. So being able to sometimes pause the show, this is the simple solution, being able to slow down the show or pause the show and address the concerns or address the situation. Or if the situation gets solved, or however it does, you meet the quick quip, any distraction, and then being able to maturely and professionally settle the situation back down, address it, and then appropriately address the whole thing. Some people make it within context, a bit of humor, then can bring people back into the show and can go from something that was distracting the show to something to people being aware that you handled the situation the best you could, sometimes even stopping for just a sec, and then going back into it makes it just nice. And it even could be something just like people just saying, oh, I really have to go to this meeting. And you have to be understanding. We don't want to be like a street performer and making some jivey remark because, maybe your audience is paying for you, or paying for your show to watch your amazing show. So we want to be professional in that regard. But just being respectful in that, and just, again, just pausing the show, addressing it, and then coming back to it. Adds a layer of professionalism that, wow, you can handle multiple dynamics or basic human conversation or how to handle issues. Because we do want to look like a professional adult. As hard as that may sound. And then the final magician's kryptonite, I will say, and as I remember now, is, I'll just say it loosely because I want to be favored by logarithms for a long time. I would say last magician's kryptonite from personal experience is eating too many earthy green vegetables. Wink, wink. I'll do this. Wink, wink. Can deride yourself. It's not even external, it's actually internal. So I'll leave it with that. Number 4, vegetables. But anyways, with those out of the way, the 4 magician's kryptonites, you now have 4 ways to tear apart a magician. Oh, and a final bonus, 5th one, using a 2-cut deck, from the casinos. They have their casino cards, and they cut the cards to ensure that they're not used in play again. Some have markings on them. If it's a 4-cut, cut on the 4 corners, then you can use them. But giving an entertainer just a cut where it's just made right here and right here, just on 2 parts of the deck, not on all 4, that is one final way to mess with the magician. So, any of those 4, now bonus 5, can derail a performer. And most of those can be notably solved. But I just wanted to throw those out there because, something worth talking about. So with that said, check out this video or this video if you haven't yet. And if you can, give the video a like. Always appreciate that. And I'll see you in the next one.